Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the English broadcast of the Chinese LPL. We just witnessed RNG pick up game number 1 over TOP. We're about to head into game number 2 shortly. Gentlemen, we witnessed TOP have some early game strategies in that match. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. What can we expect next from TOP?
So the one thing that I'm looking at for TOP coming into game number 2 is that they keep the good from their strategy moving into it. Because there were things that I thought were very strong. You guys said it in the post-game as well. Being able to get the first top lane turret is a big talking point for them. And you have to look at the reasons why they got that turret in the first place. You know, Varus having the extra wave clear, but specifically first picking Varus and then picking Tahm Kench so that they have that wave clear so they can go to that top lane. If they keep that and then they find a mid-game strategy through the rest of their draft, I think they'll be better off for it.
I agree with that holistically. I feel like it just comes down to that next step and not being afraid of failure. Because let's say they go mid lane, they try too hard and they die off of it. That's fair. I think going into this series, they should be thinking about the growth rather than thinking about necessarily taking the win, because they're going up against a tough competitor and they need to start making those strides.
And we know this team is obsessed with Baron. It doesn't matter who the coach is. They still have been obsessed with the Baron buff. The problem was that they got the early game turrets and then they just started losing lanes to retaliations from RNG, and like the 3rd and 4th rotation of jungle. That's where they need to step up, get to 20 minutes, even just a little bit ahead, and they'll have a very good game after.
Well, let's see if TOP can keep composed and keep morales high, because unfortunately for them, they're currently 0-2 in the LPL, and it doesn't look really good for them against RNG. RNG, however, looking really good. Start off their first draft with a lot of flex picks, Rusty.
Yeah, they definitely did. I know it was a bit confusing when we first saw the draft happening. For everyone except myself and Raz, I'll have you know, we were watching MLXG's streams last week, and we saw him play Camille Jungle and go off. It wasn't a surprise for us, but it's definitely a strong flex. They had 3 different roles flexed at that as well, so that is something that I like from RNG, being adaptable, being malleable on the fly during draft phases, and that's a big kudos to RNG's coaching staff to be able to do that.
And if there's going to be a time in which you try it out, it's going to be against TOP to see how well it works for MLXG. Initially, it looked kind of weird just because the best thing about it is your trading potential. They're going up against Sejuani. That's great, but he couldn't track him. It was hard to do so. Blue buff was already taken, and you're like, well, you know what? I'm just going to take a step back and start farming.
Well, MLG was able to pick up MVP in that match for RNG. We are going to be able to get into the game very shortly, but Raz, I know you wanted to talk about that jungle pick very carefully, especially for MLGXG's side. Carson not starting today. Do you think we will see him at all? Because they said no substitutions coming into game number 2.
Maybe game 3. Maybe if there is a massive failure in the jungler, but I think MLXG is looking confident today, so I would be surprised.
You don't take someone out after a victory and after an MVP performance unless you really want to get Carson's feet wet, and I don't think you need to do that for an experienced player, whereas someone like Abel, start him, and if he performs poorly, then yes, you may be able to take him out in game 2. Even if he performs well, if there's someone in the background that also needs experience, like Y-Force. So through the jungle, I don't expect changes. Through the AD carry role, there is always a chance.
Yeah, because I think right now, RNG, they're just looking for that AD carry that they want to be able to place if it's not going to be UZI, right? That's going to be nice for them to be able to give him that time, Abel specifically, and I think he's using that stage time.
Yeah, especially because we've seen Abel play today. We already saw Whitehall play last time for RNG. For now, though, we're going to go straight into game number 2. We're going to send it back to our casters. It's Pulse and Clement.
在全明星赢下冠军的时候，其实是非常开心的。然后也就是，其实是差不多第一次拿到一个团体的冠军嘛，真的是非常开心。当时伤病对我的影响其实挺大的，但是因为我自己还是觉得实力是可以继续打下去的，就一直在坚持。希望在春季赛也可以拿到一个团体冠军。
Thanks, Fish. We're back for game 2 in this one, Top versus RNG. Now, Clement, I want to relive some of the glory days of TOP. What, back in the days when they were Dan Gaming, how did they pick up those wins? Because they started off that split super strong.
Yeah, they were one of the first teams, the rookie teams, that we felt like, oh, this is going to be another IM, you know, they're going to challenge the playoffs, shake some things up, but that didn't happen after their 4-1 start. And the real reason for that is because at the start, they ran this strategy. It was very delicate. It was a global strategy where they ran a lot of Kha'Zix, Shen, and Tahm Kench at the same time, where they would constantly rotate for these early 10-minute team fights around the map. But then, as the season progressed, teams kind of figured them out, and now they don't have that original coach that set that strategy for them. BSYY now playing with FPX, and he has a really good showing on them, so that was a really tough loss.
it was the surprise factor, and that's kind of what we hoped would happen in the second split, was that Top would come in with another surprise factor, and what did they have cooking for us? But so far, they're going back to basics, and maybe they can do what Suning did, which was very much grow as a team and take the start of the split, is this is going to be our split, but maybe in the next split, we can start pushing. Especially in Spring, that could make some sense. As we get into Champion Select number 2, between TOP and RNG, got Alistair, Jarvan, and Cogmore again from Top.
A lot of respect bans coming out here.
Yeah.
We're seeing Tahm Kench, one of Cat's better champion, one of the cornerstones of that fast rotation global strategy they have. And also Azir is currently Goon's best champion in terms of solo queue. We can monitor him a little bit on the Korean ladder. And he has like almost a 70% win rate on that champion.
So we've got to respect that one, but unfortunately if you take that away, then what's left behind that pick? And well, it could be a Rise going into the mid lane, so that's a question already answered, but it's how much can he actually do with the pick instead of getting pushed in? Because last game he had the Orianna, and you would expect she should be able to do something in that lane at the very least early, right, against Vladimir, but Vladimir had almost a 3-wave advantage by 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that a lot of it does come down to that tower dive from MLXG there. Now, TOP, I feel like they're relieving Xiaohu of his Rise burdens, not letting him pick that champion anymore, taking it out of his hands. Another flex pick potential coming out here from RNG.
I would like to highlight that Zoe is open. So are we expecting RNG to try and highlight the Zoe? Because Rise has already been taken by Top, and Zoe just seems too damn good to leave open.
Well, I feel like if you're like the better team, you don't really need to make that many risks with taking a champion like Zoe. Sure, she is very good, but sometimes she can be pushed into the mid lane, and it can be hard for her to find a footing inside the game. If you're on the flip side, though, if you're like the 7th place team going against the 1st place, I'm definitely betting on that redemption or that teleport.
You would actually just pick up the Zoe immediately. Like I was surprised it was actually a Rise first pick instead of maybe waiting for the second half to perhaps get the counter pick in mid lane. They just went towards the Rise. They were just like, nope, don't need the Zoe, don't need the counter pick.
I feel like RNG can go for the Malzahar here. It's relatively open, and it's very easy to set up plays with Camille in the jungle and Ezreal with the global damage coming down. Also is a good late game counter into the Rise.
What is your feeling on the Kha'Zix? Because we went from Serjani, and we didn't get to see the fabled Shyvana from XX, which is what he's known for, but he's now gone towards the Kha'Zix in this one.
I feel like this is a type of pick where it's saying that I want to solo MLXG. Like, MLXG did make a couple of mistakes in the early game, and now on the Kha'Zix, instead of the Sejuani, it is easier to punish him on that and try to go in and try to get like these 1v1 kills down. Camille is not very good in terms of a duelist purely in the jungle. Kha'Zix definitely has the lead over there, so that could be what XX is looking for. However, we're not even sure if this Camille is going into the jungle.
True, it's a flex pick for a reason. RNG will lock in Braum though, so moving away from the Ornn at the very least into the bottom lane. There's still a chance that Ornn see some play in the top lane this game from RNG, depending on bans from top. Now RNG looking towards their next couple bans here.
Yeah, they're definitely going to take out things from the bottom lane here. This is a bit of a worry for TOP because most of their tempo leads actually does come from the bot lane. So I feel like TOP, they either need to have something special up their sleeves, or they might just be forced to go back to something like Jhin, which is one of Chocho's best picks, but doesn't really work that well in the meta.
To be honest, there's a good chance RNG just hits support again, because Tahm Kench is gone, Braum's gone, Tarek's gone. Top. The rest of the picks that they have is dwindling rapidly.
Yeah, there's only Shen left that is really a meta bot laner right now. All of the 4 big tank supports are pretty much off the table at this point, and Varus is also taken away.
So yeah, we could see that come out. Even if they Ornn, then Braum will do fine into that matchup.
There are a lot of good picks into Ezreal in the current meta. We've seen, Praise, Sivir, taking Unsealed Spellbook and perma-pushing that lane. We've also seen Draven for the LPL come into play, but not picks that Chocho is really known for, so I'm really interested in what he's going to pick out.
Yeah, because he has to move away from the Varus now. RNG, it's difficult to say what lane they're looking for because they love their flex picks.
I would pick a mid here and just go on with the ruse. So that's exactly what they do. Picked up another, Syndra. This is actually one of the first Syndras we've seen all split. She
all
really,
split.
Yeah, all season basically.
Yeah.
The reason being that Electrocute really isn't that good of a laning spell. If you think about Airy, you can proc it every 4 seconds, then you can proc Airy 10 times versus Electrocute once, so a lot of these burst mages have been kind of phased out of the meta.
Definitely exciting as well. It's always a treat to see Xiaohu on a high damage carry in the mid lane into Gung. So he knew he could win on the Vladimir into Orianna matchup, so if he gets his hands on the Syndra this time, see what he can do. Actually, just seeing the Livers duo come into the bot lane now for Choo Choo and Cat.
Yeah, I feel like you just put Camille top and pick into another jungler right here. The reason being that I feel like Camille with her tank, if she's in the top lane, she's more tanky and she can really shut down that Xayah pick.
100%. See if RNG feel the same. 5 seconds left, so Ming is the one locking it in. Thinking about the Ornn, and it will be the Ornn locked in. So Braum will be the support, so Ornn will go into the top lane, Camille jungle once again. So Alex is just like, give me that. I got the highlight reel. I got man of the match in game 1. Give me another one.
All right, but this setup actually gives Gangplank a lot less pressure. Gangplank is pretty much free to farm up as much as he wants. You can bring your gold generation items and constantly proc it on Let Me. So I feel like Mori is going to have a very, really non-interactive and pretty free game for him.
Well, we had that last time, Clement, and what happened? We never really saw. We did see him, but when we saw him, he was getting caught out so
got
much.
a 13-minute Triforce. What more do you want?
For him to be able to do anything and be relevant in the game. That's really what I want to see from GP. Do you think it was the item build? Because we were commenting on that as well. We went for that kind of crit build past the Triforce. Do you want to see more of like the quote-unquote standard?
I can see the reasonings being for that build. He felt like he wanted to do more damage and just to the front line and be more like a split push threat.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what they at that point in the game, RNG was already flooding into them. They were forcing the teamfights issue onto them, and the armor pen would have allowed them more pressure onto the enemy backline. But I feel like both are fine. He didn't really lose the game because of that. He didn't win it because he went the other build. So let's see how he does this game.
There were many other problems at play for TOP as we head into this next game. It's just a bigger sample size, honestly. Looking at XX and Moyu and see how they integrate into the team, but I don't think we'll ever get to see like 2 rosters of TOP play back-to-back, because we always see it's just like, we have a solution. We'll change their roster, and that's literally every single time we see them.
I feel so bad for Lai. So he was swapped off because the team had to ban Camille and Ornn on the blue side. And when Mori comes in, RNG picks up Camille and Ornn on the first rotation on the red side. So it's like, guys, why did you? Yeah, you should just let me play, man.
Get me off the bench. Well, maybe that is the solution, but I just want to see one roster play from TOP, but we will get to see them again in Game 2 against RNG. Maybe even a third time if they manage to claw out a win. You can see a zoom in of the shopkeeper. He has a fantastic mustache.
Yep, so we can hear the chants here in the crowd, and also the first Mountain Drake being shown. RNG going for a cheeky level 1 here with the Camille and Braum.
Went in very deep. Are they actually going to go all the way around into the red buff?
Ooh,
Looks
this
like
could
not.
be very bad for
They could meet each other.
TOP. If they meet each other, RNG is definitely coming out ahead.
Well, Cat's leading the charge. They're completely blind for now.
I don't
Reward the
understand why
bush.
TOP is risking this.
I don't know, but it's going to be bloody.
Yeah, oh, but they do get the first spotting
Yep.
on RNG.
This could be pretty good for top if they get the... Abel.
They're going to get Abel.
No, Abel spots them out with a Q. With that Mystic shot, but now they're just kind of corralled into the jungle. They have been able to push Abel back. And now they'll force their way up the river now.
Very good awareness coming in from RNG and for people here, so it's fine for Mori. Still going to be able to start his lane. But however, for XX though, it's a different story. He's going to start that jungle clear fairly late, and this is going to give up a lot of that level 1 pressure from Chocho and Cat.
Yeah, a little unfortunate. They've also lost 4% on the fan vote, so
Down to 12 now.
Another disadvantage.
Man, you fans, just don't flip-flop, man. If you're in for them, go all in.
Hey, man, like, I also appreciate going for game 1. It's like, just in case they pick up this game 1. You always want to be that guy. I am the 2%. And actually, already on a second buff. Camille really gets around the jungle so quickly using hookshot early.
Yep, kind of just standard lanes here going on. No lane has been able to push out much of an advantage. We should have seen a strong level 1 from Chocho and Cat, but obviously they arrived to lane pretty late.
Yeah, Xiaohu putting down a bunch of pressure into mid lane as well onto Gung. And MLXG, of course, he's already in the enemy jungle. XX is about to see him. Hello, how's it going? Hook shot, auto attack. Ooh, precision protocol as well, and I think he might be taking the trip back home.
Yep, just leveraging that advantage he had. Remember, MLXG did start his camps a lot earlier than XX did, so going straight into the enemy jungle and finding him.
That feels pretty bad, because I'm pretty sure you told me that Kha'Zix should do much better into Camille here. At least he's able to duel with her.
Yeah,
but Camille completely dumpstered him.
Yeah, that's not the case when you don't get much of a leash. Now, remember that with TOP, Chocho did not actually leash for the Kha'Zix, so he took a lot more damage just starting his own camps.
Well, rest in peace. How did the rest of these lanes go? Because it seems like Syndra's getting the best of Ryze here. Ornn's already pushing up into the top lane as well.
Yeah, so we don't see Syndra that much, but she's still a pretty strong pick into a lot of these meta picks. We see the good into the Orianna, kind of good into the Ryze as well. Should have lane advantage.
Ooh, this is going to be a lot of damage onto Chuchu in the bottom lane. Abel chasing him down. Nice knockup by Cat, though, will be the full disengage.
MLXG going to walk into this? Possibly.
He's walking away. Hook shot over the wall. Again, Goon was trying to group up with his jungle there and see if they could make something happen.
Yeah, no Rune Prison coming down. MLXG avoiding that gank.
I actually think that was the Scry's Bloom coming across, courtesy of Ming, who was just down on their bot side. But that was good coordination between him and MLXG.
Yeah, the main point of interest we're going to probably see from RNG is that mid lane. If Camille can get a very easy stun onto the Ryze, you could see something happening there.
Yep, Ornn being his obnoxious self. Abel not getting roosted there. He'll flash away from this. He's taking a lot of damage, but I don't think he's burnt any of his health potions so far, excluding the ones he's just been picking up in laning phase as well. So, still, you can mark that one as a successful gank.
It was definitely a misposition from Abel. They just saw the Kha'Zix in the river, still decided to position himself very close to the river brush there. So I feel like that could have been avoided.
Yep, top managing to exploit them there, so that is good for them. But still looking for that first blood to happen, see if they can convert that into anything else here.
Huge wave coming in here. MLXG also around the area. He did not manage to find XX and is not going to risk going into the bot lane.
I just feel like I have this inkling that we're just going to see a very similar game where Abel, he gets the farm up on the Ezreal, bot lane has a small advantage over the Chuchu and Cat in terms of farm, and it never really turns into anything. And this time, I feel like RNG won't just let them take the Herald for free as well.
Yeah, this game, for me, it's more about the skirmishing and just seeing how far can TOP players really push their mechanical limits. This has been a huge issue for them. The main problem with their roster is it doesn't feel like they have the mechanics to compete with the rest of the LPL. Now they have, both teams have kind of a skirmishing team fight, so let's see how they can utilize that and how they match up against RNG.
True. And starting now in the mid lane, Goon getting slowed down. Looking for the stun as well. Out from Xiaohu, and there it is. But actually onto the Kha'Zix. He's getting locked down as well from the hook shot. XX will make it out alive, and MLXG will maintain control over the top jungle.
Yeah, very clean gank from RNG there, forcing a 2-flash advantage. So they're definitely coming again once Xiaohu hits level 6.
Yeah, that'll be very much an easy kill with the unleashed power. But that is actually getting to the point where it's a sizable gold lead in the mid lane just in terms of farm.
And this is really gonna... I feel bad for XX because this Kha'Zix is not gonna get many chances to go in and find MLXG for duels right now. He's losing the mid lane quite heavily. Look at his blue side jungle. It's completely warded up. They are going to contest this on the next blue buff here.
And MLXG is just being constantly aggressive.
Yeah, I feel like XX is doing a very good play here. He knows that he probably can't contest this next blue buff because his team is down 2 flashes. So he's going to try to equalize the play, get his red, and try to find a play on the bottom side of the map.
But he's the best he can hope for at this point in time. So as well, maybe they're able to contest something around the dragon. We also have 5 stopwatches, I just realized that. Top double down into the inspiration tree. So hopefully that maybe will pay off in one of these early skirmishes that you were alluding towards. Let me maybe getting involved there as well. And XX moving back towards the mid lane. It's actually just farming up right now. Are you expecting top to try and contest this first dragon? It is Mountain.
They can do that. They do have a better duo in terms of the fighting power in the bot lane. But so far they really haven't been able to push their lanes out much. That's going to be a huge point of concern. If you look at the vision, RNG still has better vision control even on the bot side of the map. So right now we're just seeing most of TOP's lanes just being pushed up the tower. When this happens, it's pretty much up to the jungle to make a play.
And Lemmy's actually going for the all-in and top lane. That was a good, perfect timing there from Moyu. He does have the flash, but didn't really want to burn it. He's doing a lot of damage in return onto Lemmy. This actually might be a solo kill. He flashes away. Moyu still has his flash. He might be able to get a parlay up here. Charges away, and there it is. Parlay. First blood, 1v1 kill to Moyu.
That was a beautiful play from Moyu right there. He managed to dodge out on the second instance of Ornn's ultimate with his stopwatch right there. Avoided all the damage. Walked out of the Bellow's breath range and then went back on him. So it's really important when you're fighting an Ornn to realize that only the last tick of Bellow's breath does apply his passive. So if you can dodge that, that's actually a huge chunk of his damage.
That was insane as well, and the flash wasn't even used during the trade. This was just impressive mechanics. I was fully expecting Lemmy to straight up win. He gets the extra ice and he's like, 100% I win this trade. Gets the health lead.
Yeah, and he also dodged the first barrel chain from Moyu right there. Did take a bunch of damage from the cannon barrage right there, but let's watch Moyu going in. Still has his flash, gets the speed up.
I mean, frankly, this was just perfectly played from Moyu. There's nothing else to say about that. But a rare misplay from Lemmy, starting up the Bellow's breath, shooting backwards basically. It's like, what if you're looking for the aggression there? Surely you would just put it either towards the wall or towards the tower. XX actually doubling down on this play as well. Lemmy jumps away with the dash. But he's very low. Another Q comes out. Perfect timing on the shield. Will barely keep him alive.
Oh, that was really close. If the XX still had his flash up, then this would have definitely been a kill right there.
Yeah, Moyu very close to ultimate, so even if XX had maybe waited an extra 10-15 seconds, also could have been a kill. But regardless, Lemmy has been either sent back to base or forced to just sit behind his tower for literally the next century. And then actually coming in, trying to even it up. There's the ultimate coming down, plus the Hextech ultimatum, and Moyu very much dead. Lemmy staying around with barely enough health to make that gank work.
That looks so easy from Camille. Lands the hook shot and into the Hextech ultimatum. Also Lemmy assisting there. The thing about Camille players is that they always call for their jungle once they hit level 6, and now it's kind of the opposite. You can just call Camille whenever she's level 6.
She's level yeah. And Lemmy also holding on to that ultimate. So Moyu, despite that going really well for XX, to put me like, I just went to top lane, I've got them ahead, and immediately that turns into a disadvantage for top.
Good push in here from TOP though, recognizing two members on the top side of the map, instantly go for the 4-man.
He'll get a bunch of damage on this tower. Good ultimate from Abel there will clear out most of the minion wave. But still, that tower is fairly low. If they're able to get this first tower, we could be finding ourselves in a very similar situation to Game 1, in fact.
Exactly. RNG recognizing the situation that Rise was in, pushing in a little bit. We still haven't seen any plays being made from Xiaohu right there, so Goon doing a good job playing defensive and just avoiding the worst case scenario from the MLXG gank.
Essentially now we're just waiting for the scale up on both sides, actually.
Yep, and in this scenario, I would actually say that RNG needs to be the one pushing the tempo. Late game Rise is incredibly scary. That's a very daunting proposition to go up against. And also when you have Gangplank against Ezreal, I feel like Ezreal doesn't have the easiest time clearing the barrel. He still only has a 550 range attack. So late game Ezreal can actually be caught out by the Gangplank quite a lot.
We were seeing glimpses of that last game, where Moyu was perhaps able to do that in the bottom side. Xiaohu, still waiting to see him in a real skirmish, actually. Because he's got that advantage in the mid lane, but it's starting to be evened up by Goong.
Yep, best situation for TOP right now, I feel, is if they can get Goong more into the game, make him kind of a split push pressure, and they have a very good 4-man team in terms of defense. Xayah is one of the best AD carries I feel like you can have for a 4-1 split push composition, and you also have Gangplank that can help with that long range wave clear. So pretty much TOP is just going to stall out until they can get to that point, and really leveraging the Rise late game is quite easy.
I'm waiting for also a potential play over Herald, because now Dragon is very much an objective that could be taken also solo by these junglers, especially MLXG, who has the level advantage over XX here. MLXG jumps away, Hextech ultimatum becomes untargetable, but in comes Cat, gets the engage off, there's a lot of damage on MLXG, he may actually fall here. Gung turns around, gets the first kill of the fight. Let me knock up onto one, that's onto Choo Choo, again, untargetable with the ultimate, and Abel backing up the team. He jumps forwards, 2 more stacks to get the stun down onto Choo Choo. He will go for it, but it's too far back. And that's the instant knockup. Good defense there from Ming.
Gung coming from behind.
Gung with the flank. Xiaohu turning around. He's got the lockdown, and the entirety of RNG turn back on towards him. Perfect timing, plus the round warp, though, will get him out alive.
Well, great play from Gung there. He understood that he could get out of any scenario with his stopwatch there. And I feel like MLXG just kind of overstepped his boundaries a little bit, walking into the Kazakh's jungle there and getting caught out. He did have a very good play on the early start of that fight, avoiding the Rune Prison with his W, but it wasn't enough to get him out of trouble.
Mayu kiting around Let Me. Just get the knock up. Turning around, and again we get to see the trade in the top lane, but this time Let Me is quite tanky. And I feel like we say that a lot. MLXG caught out over aggressive.
Yeah, it did not work out for him right there. And I actually feel like Let Me's lane is in a lot of trouble right now. He's gone for the more offensive build option in terms of the Iceborne's Gauntlet. And right now we can actually see Gameplay kind of just solo him and split push in this lane. He's going to need a couple more ganks from MLXG to really equalize or even survive this lane.
And frankly, he just needs health. He just doesn't have very much effective health. Like, he's got the armor, but that's essentially it. So yeah, the amount of health that Let Me has, 1,400 is not a lot at 14 minutes. But Choo Choo still in the bottom lane, getting towards the Essence Reaver.
Ooh, Xiaohu roaming down here. This isn't spotted by TOP.
As well, going back to base. Choo Choo, that was a fantastic Winter's Bite out from Ming.
Xiaohu
Xiaohu just get the stun down and Abel picking up the kill. Now who'll get the kill? It actually goes over to Ming because he just delayed the auto attack. But Cat, that's not a way out, and he has to go back towards the tower. He's wiped out by Xiaohu, who finds a second kill of that engagement, and now bottom tower will fall to RNG.
Yep, really great play from RNG there. I especially want to commend MLXG holding on to his damage to let his mid laner get that kill. This is going to make Syndra a bit more difficult to deal with in the late game and have some parity between Syndra and Ryze.
Well, you might actually pick up this tower. The amount of damage that Trial by Fire does onto towers is pretty significant. He didn't stick around though. Let Me was on his way back into the top lane, though Moyu, now realizing that, backs to the top. He's like, hang on, no one's actually arriving, so there was like missed time on that. But we get to see this trade in the bottom lane one more time.
Yeah, this is the problem with the newer teams, I feel, for the LPL. When one of their laners is going back, they do not know how to play defensive in this situation. Frankly, when Goon was going back, I feel like TOP's bot lane should have moved away from that tower. Still decided to stay and was caught out.
XX moving back towards the bottom side, but it's Blue Buff going over to the mid lane, and RNG will pretty much just go back. I think they just need to reset real quick. Top lane did, during that replay, go down to Moyu, it's worth noting. So have evened up the towers. And Moyu's actually going towards the Gauntlet there, so he's actually not going for the full crit build that he was last game.
Yeah, I think like for Moyu, he's definitely more of like a split push player from the champion pools we've seen him previously pulled out. Jax, the Kennen. So Steric's Gauge is going to just give him more damage on that Q so he can push out Let Me a bit more.
Yeah, Steric's Gauge feels so good for melee laners nowadays. The extra AD that you get as well with the pickaxe moved into the item build.
Yeah, his other options would be the armor penetration, but that has been nerfed quite a bit, and he doesn't feel like he can get too many hits on a champion like Ezreal, so instead going for the more split push centric.
Let's take a look at some of these keystones as well. Xiaohu's gone for the Ares. Why don't you take Ares over Comet in the mid lane?
If you can continuously poke out the enemy champion, if you can proc that a lot of times. You know, Syndra used to take Thunderlord's Decree. Now that Electrocute is there, it's on a 50-second cooldown, level 1. It's actually very difficult for burst mages to take that. A lot of people just prefer the Sorcery Tree instead for sustained damage.
And RNG this time will actually go onto the Herald. Will there be a contest, though, from TOP? Well, Cat and Choo Choo wants it, but in the mid lane, Goon just getting back into lane now. So we'll go down to RNG. Will they be able to shove them away from the actual eye of the Herald? Looks like they will, so it's still there. No one picked it up.
All right, let's watch Camille.
No, Choo Choo, you
see
can't.
if MLXG
You can't pick
is
it
gonna
up.
Try it.
You didn't take it, Choo Choo. You can't take it.
That ain't gonna stop the man from trying.
They're actually still trying. Do you?
I think it's a good idea. You
XX?
just want to defend this until it disappears. I believe it's a 40-second cooldown. Oh, but MLXG is coming in for
No,
it.
they want it. Someone get to the Herald before it despawns. MLXG's over it. He's picked it up. It's all good. Cat goes into the Zhonya's Hourglass, and now Choo Choo backing away. He goes into his own stopwatch. It's taking a while because everyone has stopwatch, but this fight is not going well for TOP. They turn back up towards Xiaohu, who was left alone, though. Let Me and Ming trying to peel up, but he will go down. He comes to round war, but it stops. Goong planted in place, and Let Me last auto attack will find him. 3 kills to RNG at only the cost of Xiaohu.
So RNG actually set up a perfect bait right there. That was really well played, actually. They recognized that Gangplank no longer had his ultimate, and they were in a really tough situation being sandwiched. That was a 3-person sandwich with RNG coming in, Let Me behind, with a teleport from behind and knocking off Chocho at the first instance of the fight, and a very clean mop-up from RNG right there. Not only gets the Herald, is also going to take the mid lane tower.
And this is going to be big for RNG, and that was one of the first big swings that we're seeing in this early game. So that'll open up the goal total. We get to see finally some health as well onto the side of Letney, and there's going to be the Herald on top of that. So we get to see that play one more time. The Ram comes in, and then the knockups start happening. As we said, the fight starts getting extended because of all the stopwatches.
Yep, and without their main AD carry, the main source of their damage, and if you look at Goon's positioning right here, it's very caught out. He's fighting a, I believe it was a 3v2 in that side of the map, so really couldn't do much in that situation. It's really good bait from RNG.
Yeah, to be fair, they did manage to get Xiaohu, though, because they tried to turn back on towards him while he was split from the team, and Ming and Let Me were like, oh crap, we better help our mid laner, but they were able to pick up the kill in the end.
The only good thing to come out of this is to see if this puts Goon into a split push position, possibly, with 2 kills being picked up here.
Is that realistically going to happen, Clement?
Well, they have the Gangplank to do it, so a lot of times probably
That's why
no.
I ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to look on the bright side.
That's true. Always worth looking at the silver lining. But the Moyu has finished the Sterex Gauge as well, so now is the time we'd be like, okay, we should probably look for fights, but the fight's already happened and they lost it. So Baron's actually coming up right about now. Got 90 seconds until Mountain Dragon spawns. Most likely going to go over to RNG.
Ooh, they're doing the top play again.
They are going for the classic top play. But RNG is like, we've literally seen this for the last 6 months. we know what's happening. Let Me turn around. This is going to be a big knock-up. 4 players knocked up there.
Right there.
Abel as well from the backside, just hammering down the damage. The Baron did actually go over to XX though, so top if they can get some members out alive because they're all just being murdered right now. They will have a Baron buff. Did anyone survive? XX survived.
Yep.
So there's 1 Baron buff on top.
Well, this is the type of play where you need to type out worth to actually make it worth, or else it's just a slaughter. Like that was.
That is true.
I don't feel like that was worth it at all.
Lambs literally led to the slaughter. RNG, with the death timers though, should be able to pick up a bunch of towers off of this. Top tower goes down. Herald as well popped in the top side. Mid tower surely going to fall to Ming and Abel. And bot lane is being split pushed by Xiaohu, who doesn't even have teleport.
So TOP is really known for this. They do a lot of desperation barons even when they're not desperate. So
yeah, we just called them the TOP Baron at this point. The classic 20-minuter.
I feel like it's kind of a lazy out, though. It's like, all
well,
right, let's forget
okay,
macro
look, Clement,
play.
it
Let's
was
just go
working.
Baron.
Like, it used to work, and that's why they're like going back to it. Because when we were talking about the glory days and how they got the 4 wins at the start of the split when they initially got into the LP, and we were like, fantastic. Now what else have you got for us? And there was nothing else.
Let's watch this thing again. Let's see how many people Let Me actually knocks up. So he gets 3 on the way in, 4 on the way out. And then we see Braum coming in as well to clean this up. Stops the Realm Warp, 3-man knockup from Ornn again.
Yeah, they all died. That's pretty much the end of that one. That's the short end of it, Clement.
I mean, I've only been watching this team for 1 week right now, and I feel like I kind of know all of their plays, so not sure why they're still trying this.
I mean, that's essentially it, and we say it time and time again, but they do make the roster swap-ups. What we really need to see is the playbook have more in it. Because currently we see the same players over and over again, and we know the talent's there because we see them get advances in the early game. We see them make step 1 and step 2, get a pig, take the tower, get a pig, take a dragon, go towards an objective. But after that, it really falls apart, and it's especially highlighted against teams like RNG when you see top of the table clashes like this.
Yeah, when they definitely know what player you're going to go for and they're ready and they're set up to really punish you there. I just feel like TOP, they didn't need to throw the game in that type of fashion. They had a good split pusher in Gangplank right here. It was really far ahead of Let Me. And they also had Goon, who was, 2 kills. He was starting his own split push thing as well. They could have a lot of Realm War plays, but just opted for Baron. Let's see if they can get Xiaohu.
He's going in, he's going out.
And really smooth flash there.
Hello.
Flash at the absolutely last second to avoid Cat.
Yeah, he was probably hoping that he just could not burn Flash in that situation. It's like, maybe I can just get out here.
Oh, so he actually did a cleanse Flash.
Yeah, he ended up using both summoners in the end. Oh, okay, well, Clement, in your professional opinion, what do you think about that play by Cat?
Well, if RNG is pushing in this lane, maybe they have other members in the jungle. Probably not worth it to risk there. You could have put a bit more wards up there. Bit of a mistake. That's all I'm going to say.
Got it. And this is going to sit in the same bush. It's like, oh, maybe someone else will turn up. MLXG, he's the patient hunter. Perhaps Gung will try his luck, come up to the top side. But now it's just going to be the slow, painful death in the bottom. Here comes the Ram. Good ultimate by Juju, and XX gets obliterated underneath the tower. Goong backs away, places down the enhanced room prison. In comes Cat once more back from the grave. And we're flashing away this time.
So RNG still managed to make picks, even though they missed 2 ultimates. They actually missed the Ornn and also missed the Camille Flash, but still able to get picks fairly easily.
The last real bastion the line of defense is going to be at these inhibitor turrets and see if Top can do something around the area, but RNG, next dragon's going to be Infernal. Wouldn't be surprised if they just wait this one up, pick up Infernal, have those double mountains as well. But they don't really need to wait, they can just do whatever they want with the Rift.
Pretty much. TOP also not having a very good time in the bot lane. Chocho's actually under-leveled, doesn't really have the items to contest right now, so that's going to make RNG diving into their composition a lot easier. They can go in knowing that they're not really going to be punished for it. It's going to take a long time for them to be taken off the map.
Clement, weren't you telling me that RNG had a nickname as a team on their street?
Oh, yeah, so let's see this engage first, if anything's going to happen about it. Not really. So TOP is known by the Chinese community as the Lingsi Lu Assassins, the Lingxi Street Assassins, because at the start of the split, they managed to defeat every team that had a gaming house on that street. So that was EDG, IM, and Snake. They all have their gaming houses in the same complex, and they managed to beat all 3 teams. So from then on, they were always known as the Lingsi Lu team.
That's actually pretty impressive, because I remember I visited some of the gaming houses and they had their own little kind of friendly rivalry around there. Like if you managed to win the games in the week, then they would buy you food, and it was like that type of thing on the complex. It was super cool. And it's actually entertaining to see that RNG now coming into that kind of rivalry around that complex. Actually doing fairly well apparently in scrims.
I remember the send-off EDG gave Snake. It's like, oh, you guys are going to Chongqing. We're going to meet in the Demacia finals, and we're going to beat you one last time.
How did that go?
They did it.
No.
Coming back to this game, kind of RNG pretty much are just stalling on their advantages. I don't feel like TOP can go anywhere on the map right now. There's too much engage in this RNG composition, MLXG, Xiaohu, and even Let Me. So I'm not sure what they're going to do now. You can see them venturing out very tentatively into the mid lane.
To be honest, this is pretty much the only play that they can do right now, which is hope for a potential pick on the bottom side. Like, Moyu does a lot of damage, to be fair. Death's Daughter on the ultimate, doing a lot of damage. XX might be able to pick up this kill, and indeed he does. Stealths on out. So that was a good pick on the bottom side, but Miniwave is a fair ways off. Let's see if RNG are able to push on the top side.
This is the type of play they could have done instead of the Baron. So that's just what I feel so weird. Like, you actually have ways to win the game. You don't need to go for these huge risky scenarios that everyone knows your playbook. So yeah, just do this more often. Play off your winning lanes.
Well, the fact that they can do it is a good thing for them. Cat getting caught out in the Hextech Ultimatum, which is lasting actually forever. MLXG will find that one. In the bottom side, someone needs to deal with the GP. I'm not sure if RNG have just forgotten that this guy exists, but he's actually just pushed 2 towers and is going to take an inhibitor.
I don't think he's necessarily going to get the inhibitor, but
I don't know, man.
if people aren't going back.
Literally hit. Oh, he's backing away.
Oh, so Ornn's there, so decided to go back.
And do it, XX. You made a really good play. Just back away. Well, he's caught out by the Winters, but here's us flash out. We got any more chase? Well, it's Camille on open ground, so yes. XX getting caught out. Stunned down. Round whoop to safety.
I must feel pretty bad for XX. It's like Goon's telling him, I have the realm warp, but you know, you really can't come on this train. They're going to stun me if I do. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to have to leave you behind. Xiao Hoop, he's earning away the rest of the team. Mei is actually pretty strong, though did that just disappear into Ming's shield? That goes down over to MLXG, and now the fight erupts. Got the teleport coming in from the backside. Comes the Ram once again, double knock up, and this isn't even close. Cat is soon to fall on top of that. Goon gets 1 kill, but Unleashed Power and the rest of the team will put him down shortly.
Finally funnels in. Also, the Baron does go to RNG, so TOP with another desperation play, down 1 member, going into that 4v5. They do manage to claw back 2 kills, but really not enough to get him outside of this hole now.
Cat is on the run. Let Me is relentless. He's he's found him over the wall. Damn it, I'm on. Do you think he'll keep going? I would. Yeah, he's still going.
Yep. Just wants to have a little fun. Didn't have much fun in that top lane.
That tower should be falling here over to Abel and Zhao. He's actually tanking the tower for these minions. That's another tower down. Still yet to take an inhib though, so Top have that going for them, which is nice.
Let's see if there's any teleports left. So Goon does have a teleport, does have a potential play to cut this off, but it's a little bit too late on the respawn, so TOP is just going to decide for the Infernal Drake. Let's watch that again. It's actually a 4v4 scenario right here just because Let Me is in the bot lane, but does teleport in.
And here comes the massacre.
Yeah, it was actually close for a while with ML actually going down, but he was able to pop his shield once more.
Yep. Unleashed Power, Cat goes running. That's essentially it. That was essentially the fight, Clement.
Yep. So they thought Let Me was in the bot lane, so they were going to try for a 4v4 scenario. Let Me still had his teleport, was able to clean that up, and they don't even get the Infernal Drake on the back. That's kind of surprising. Because when we were before the replay, XX definitely had the positional advantage there.
True, but it does appear like they're giving up the ghost at this point in time. MLXG, he's gone for the upgraded Trinity Force. Now, I actually don't think that's gold efficient until you hit maximum items.
Hey, it's cool.
It is cool.
You get a red border around your Triforce, man. How many people have a red Triforce?
But
that's like collector's edition.
I'm not sure if it's actually worth it. But I don't think it's going to matter regardless. He's the ultimate once again from Ornn, but instant engage from Cat, though I didn't see him come back out, because he didn't. And RNG will basically try this play again, just wait for the minion wave.
Yep, just not enough damage coming out there. Chocho did not manage to land his E on anyone, so there was no stuns coming out from his position. And RNG just are setting up for another
essentially minion watching.
play. Yep.
It'd be great if the minions could run a little bit faster. Actually, April standing in front with the
Look at
elixir of
that
iron.
cooldown on Let Me. It's almost back up again.
No, you backing up. And Cat's not even respawned yet. Though the minion wave was cleared out. We've got MLXG in the mid lane taking away the tower. Putting down this split pressure. Bobbing and weaving.
The cooldown is so short on
Xiao Hu's
Ornn
literally escorting minions into the bottom side.
that we actually see a lot of Ornns taking the ultimate hat just to make it even more worth it.
Yeah.
Already up cooldown for Let Me, and Gangplank doesn't have his, so it should be a fairly easy push if RNG wants to take it.
Now, I do really like ultimate hat, and I know I was taking that on Urgot and you were telling me I think this is a bit of a noob trap, but like I honestly think it's good for a lot of these ultimates that you can spam out early, especially, and ultimates that you particularly use like off cooldown. Then you're gonna get that cooldown very early on, like around 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, competitive champions we really see using that. Zoe is one, Ornn is another. Possible engage coming in here for RNG.
There's the ultimate. definitely got ultimate hat. In the bottom side, this is the 1 versus 2 by MLXG, so he's very much overextended, but it's the rest of the team that is just getting annihilated by RNG. And MLXG, he survives. That's all he essentially needs to do. Gung might take him out, though. Wall hops, locked down. MLXG don't need to be there, but I don't think it's going to matter. He just wanted the last hit. Of course he did. 3 kills to RNG.
I feel like that was a really good play from LXG, actually. Locking 2 members on the side for TOP and allowing a very easy cleanup for the rest of his team there.
Yep. I mean, that's pretty much what he wanted to do earlier when he got caught in that jungle.
Yeah.
Because with Camille, you have all of that mobility. This time he was actually able to survive. And the tower finally dies in the mid lane. Now onto the inhibitor. Got those super minions going. Another 10 seconds on Chuchu and 30 seconds on Gung. This could just be the game here for RNG, and the series, in fact. Cat doesn't have ultimate. In fact, there's not a lot available for TOP to actually come back, and in fact, they just won't at all. And again, this is essentially the same engagement. Here comes the Ram. RNG with a 2-0 over TOP.
Frankly, I feel like that was a game that TOP kind of let themselves down. They didn't play all of their advantages out and went for that really risky Baron play. You know, they had a large advantage in the gangplank, and also Goon was starting to get into a split push. They could have played that 1-3-1 or the 4-1 out, decided to go for the Baron play anyway, and was severely punished for it.
You know, it was a very easy game and series, honestly, for RNG in the end. And we said it at the start, so we'll say it again. Anything less than the 2-0 would be disappointment for them and their fans, and they did not disappoint today.
Yep, and I feel like from here on out, whenever MLXG is playing, we're probably going to see the Camille banned out. That flex pick is, I think it's causing too much trouble, and you have to play your lane so safe when you're running against it.
Yep, and a well-deserved battle from RNG as well as they take the series. Oh, good day, Rusty. How you going?
Howdy, it's cracking.
Not much.
I'm doing well.
Just a bit of TOP and some League of Legends?
It is, yeah, certainly some TOP. Not a whole lot of them, given that RNG took them apart slowly and assuredly. Every single time you heard Ornn's ultimate, you knew someone was dying, and that remained consistent throughout the entire thing. I'm actually quite happy with what I saw from TOP in some points. I am obviously disappointed in others. The 20-minute Baron is an example. They haven't changed a bit. But there are good things there, and that's a nice thing to see from them. Up against a team like RNG, they had fighting spirit, they made some good calls, and to make good calls against one of the best teams, the semi-finalists from Worlds in 2017, you can take positives away from this. I just hope that's what the coach does.
And there's growth as well, right? We said it at the start. We need to see growth. This isn't a series that realistically you're expecting to see TOP win or upset, but are we going to see growth? Is XX going to come in and do well on the jungle picks that he goes for? A bit of yes and no. I feel like we need a bigger sample size before we can really call it, but the goal graph is as simple as it gets. RNG had control over the game. We're able to just push it in.
I think I can understand when the 20-minute mark is. Just that huge spike over there on that graph. Yeah. I will say I feel like the pros for TOP in this game is that they had a much better early game. There was a huge issue for them in the last season. And right now we can see even against RNG, they had a good laning phase in most of their lanes. Mori especially was pushing Let Me to the limit, really setting up a good 4-1 split push game. But of course, back to the Baron, didn't go for it.
Yeah, and it wasn't even just the game, it was the entire set where TOP were good early. So I agree with your sentiments that they were very bad at it last year towards the end of the split after an okay start. They come into this one and they're still showing good early games. I just hope that they continue to diversify and continue to learn as the patches change, as the meta shifts, and so they still look good as a result of all of that. And they don't just stagnate with whatever this one strategy was they have right now, which is good, but it's not the only thing you can have for an entire split.
I mean, to be fair, they had more in that game that we saw from them. Like, they moved to bottom side, they got a pick, and it was just like, great, do that more often. As Clement said during the game, like, they actually have abilities to win the game, so why not just do more of that?
I feel like they're lacking in terms of a veteran shot caller on that team. A lot of these players are really new to the LPL in general, and also Goon, coming from Korea, might not be the best vocal leader for them. He still doesn't have the best Chinese, from what I understand. So this is a team that I feel like lacks a lot of resilience. There's not a good leader that can push this team forward, and a lot of that might need to come from the coaching staff at this point. We have seen their new coach Slythe, but we don't really know much about this person. They just need more new elements to the team, basically.
Yeah, and personally, I love watching Ornn. So let's watch some Ornn. We're going to roll a replay here of Ornn hitting a massive ultimate. And as you said, it hit 3 people on the way in, and then 4 people on the way out. So I think that's a 7-man ultimate.
Yeah, and this is the clean part of RNG's gameplay where they're really far ahead. You've got desperation from top. This is that cheeky type of Baron moment. XX is the only one that evades the RNG police as they sprinted towards the Baron pit. And you guys mentioned it, like, this is okay from TOP to play something like this. If it's successful, it used to be successful for them, but the gig's up, everyone knows exactly what they're going to do, and you just have to sound the alarm as Ornn comes in and prevents it.
It's been up for about half a year, to be honest, but Abel will take man of the match in this one, his first MVP on Ezreal. His second game, in fact, in this set as Ezreal, and it was pretty solid, to be honest. He just farmed out the learning phase and was good in team fights.
Yeah, he wasn't really pressured much. There wasn't a lot of damage coming his way, but he did a good job on cleaning out the targets and just keeping himself out of harm's way.
And obviously now's a good time to actually have an Abel check-in, because we've only seen 2 sets from the AD carry of RNG, the new AD carry that's meant to be this superstar coming up behind Uzi. And from what we saw in the first set, which was disappointing for RNG, he only played 1 game and got subbed off. He still looked mechanically good, and I think the only reason he gets MVP in this game is simply those mechanics once again, because he comes in, he's able to just press the buttons appropriately.
Sure.
He never stood out to me as a flashy player or the most valuable, but I don't think there was a most valuable person on RNG in that game, and he did his job very well.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't tested to its extreme. I'm still waiting on that Twitch, that Kog'Maw, or maybe even that Jinx to come out. These are his solo queue terror picks, but no such luck so far.
I mean, he's getting stage time right now against teams like TOP, so he can actually just like get on stage and get some of those nerves away now before they start going against some of the better teams, right? Because he's got a bunch of AD carries behind him. Most importantly, he's got Uzi there waiting for it to reclaim his spot, just keeping the seat warm. So I wonder if we actually see more from Abel to the point where it's like, actually, we can use this guy in certain scenarios.
I think right now he's just fighting with Y4 for his place, not so much Uzi. Again, Uzi's outspoken, he has injuries, he wants to recover as much as he can. So the way I see it is the most time off that Uzi can have possible, the better for him as an individual to fix all of his injuries. And that means that if Abel and Y4 are fighting with one another to have the main spot and they both improve, we've seen good showings from both of them now, then expectations are very high for RNG in the AD carry role. But it's not just that role that excites me about RNG, it was the coaching, even adaptations in this set alone, being able to recognize weaknesses where TOP exploited them, coming back in the second game and fixing those in a game that they were already winning. It's things like this that make Abel, as an example, look like a better player.
And specifically, what was it that he fixed between game 1 and game 2? Was it picks? Was it how they played the early game?
I saw it as the draft that was one of the problems. Again, having a pushing bottom lane from TOP enabled them to go top lane with Tahm Kench and Varus and go towards the first turret. If they had that and a Gangplank in this second game, things could have been very different, but they banned the Tahm Kench, then they banned the Varus in the second ban phase to enable a better bottom lane, and aggression from Ming and Abel was very much evident. They hit a single Ezreal Q, and Ming just throws everything and ignites them just to control the lane, not even necessarily just to kill, and knows the cavalry will come down.
Yeah, so it looks good, honestly, for them moving forwards into the rest of their games. So, they'll play against some of the better teams as well. So it's exciting to see the growth of RNG heading into that one. Are you expecting RNG very quickly to be at the top of the table? Are you expecting to be number 1 or number 2 from what we've seen so far?
Clement?
Well, I actually feel like there's not enough for me to really say that. I feel like their bot lane hasn't been super impressive. Like, I think Abel, man of the game right here, man of the match right here, but we really haven't seen him being taken to the extreme. And going even against TOP is not especially exciting, so I would like a larger sample size for that.
Okay.
Fair. I mean, it was a bit of a cop-out, but it's very fair.
We didn't get a 1 or 2.
You did
but
get
we didn't really
me on
answer
that.
the question. Clement, we've got a couple more seconds here. 1 or 2? Give me, give me an answer.
I feel like it's so hard to claw back in this kind of a conference format against when you already have a win against IG, so I'd probably still say 1.
All right, fair. All right, that's going to do it for us. We're going to take a quick break before we set up for Game 2 on our second series. We'll see you then.